Happy NFL playoff kickoff day. Welcome into another episode of Rip N Riff here on the Fantasy Alarm and BSN YouTube pages. I'm Adam Bernard at Pucking Thoughts on Twitter, and with me, as always, my guy on the right here, Mr. Jared Moore, and reigning two-time Dynasty League champion. Both of those over me. Congrats again, champ. How we doing?
I'm doing good. Please don't refer to me as champ because it's just it's a little awkward. You know, we're talking about a fake made up game, which is kind of an awkward way to do that. And like I'm not gonna walk around like I have a championship belt, but like it's a wrestling championship belt. It's not. I didn't get it specifically made for fantasy. I didn't even bother to dig it out of the closet today because it's just like, it's kind of awkward to kind of refer to yourself in like the third person like that, like, the champ is here, like you're John Cena or something. So I wasn't trying to make any more of a bigger deal about it than you are, but now that I've rambled on for about 45 seconds about it, it's kind of awkward and I'm looking for a way out now. So anytime you want to jump in and interrupt me, you're more than welcome.
You're the champion of my heart too. All right, so
thank you.
So before we get going on we have a little show and tell here today, just going through some old stuff, cleaning some stuff out. We're going to take you back to 1993 when McDonald's had a promo going with the NFL where they gave out game day cards, and they're like the tall boys and these are the sheets of the cards. They're kind of the same like length as the tall boy that you pulled out from a hockey pack a few weeks ago. But yeah, here's page one. You got Mo Lewis, Jeff Lagerman, Kyle Clifton on there.
How about that? I don't remember this from McDonald's, so that's pretty exciting.
I remember, yeah, they had these. I think I had a Giants one too. I think my dad was able to get the Bears ones when he was on a business trip in Chicago. But yeah, the immortal Browning Nagel, Jets quarterback. Rob Moore, a good receiver there. Blair Thomas. Thanks, Pat Kerwin, for that one. And then let's see here. Finally, this was
shout out to Pat Kerwin. We like that.
Pat Kerwin. He gets mad when people say that. Ronnie Lott, Boomer Esiason, James Hasty. Who else? Leonard Marshall, Terrence Mathis, Marvin Jones. So yeah, I found these. Figured it'd be cool to show them to kick off the show here.
Oh, that's cool. If we were doing show and tell, I probably would have come up with something, but unfortunately, I don't have anything as neat and nostalgic as that. I mean, I suppose I could go to McDonald's after the show and see what they're giving away now, because it's probably nowhere near as cool as that. It's probably, I don't know, Happy Meals, probably Hot Wheels and Barbie for the 8 billionth time would be my guess.
They have adult Happy Meals now. Did you know that?
I did not. Although do the adult Happy Meals come with the toy?
They do. It's like this like McDonald's town kind of thing. I don't know. It's basically a Happy Meal, but you could get a Big Mac or a 10-piece chicken nuggets instead. So it's like an adult size portion Happy Meal with apparently
that's interesting. I didn't know. I consider myself a fast food connoisseur, but McDonald's is not my go-to choice, even though it's one of the big four here. We have what we call fast food alley here. You have McDonald's, and then across the street you have Wendy's and Taco Bell, and then like just a little bit further down the road is KFC.
Well, I mean, I like Burger King, and yeah, I'm not a McDonald's guy, but my daughter's in that phase because, like, obviously the Happy Meal has its own box. It's got the toy. 4 years old. It's like the peak audience for it. So yeah, we've been fast food has been there lately. But let's get back to pack ripping here on R&R. We're gonna go football and hockey today. Let me show you. We're gonna go cup chasing again. I know we did that last week, but why not? I opened up a pack on New Year's Eve. We're recording this on New Year's Day, and it was a garbage pack, so I'm looking forward to maybe getting something better there. And then what we're going to go through is the 97-98 Pinnacle NHL series here. And here's what we're looking for. There's the pack right there. Pretty cool looking pack. And then what we're looking for there, we got some Marion Hossa rookies now. Joe Thornton and Marlowe, kind of rookies. They're like a rookie subset, so they're not a true rookie, but nonetheless, those exist in there. So that's what I'm looking for today when I bring some hockey to the table. Jared, what do you got?
So I've been mentioning I wanted to do some more like mid-2000s, mid-2010s football packs, especially like remember some fantasy football guys. So I found this while I was perusing eBay, a couple packs of the 2016 Panini football packs, just Panini football. Not the Prisms, but obviously they've had to deal with the NFL for quite a while now, and we obviously trust the Panini name that they'll give us a quality product here. So I have no idea what these cards will look like, but Yeah, you're seeing some of the rookies there. That was the Jared Goff #1 overall draft pick. Ezekiel Elliott was a top 5 pick. Derrick Henry, Carson Wentz was in that draft class. Tyreek Hill was also a rookie that year. But the guy we really want out of that draft class is Dak Prescott, former 4th-round pick. We kind of feel like, I kind of feel like there's probably a bunch of Dak Prescott rookie cards floating around out there that have yet to be unearthed. So we got a couple packs here of that. So hopefully we unearth a Dak Prescott rookie card. That'd be a nice little surprise to start off the new year.
Also, Derrick Henry would be I know quarterbacks are the better rookies to have, but a Derrick Henry rookie certainly won't be a bad one to find either. So maybe we see that one.
Yeah. So I think without further ado, I'm just going to jump the gun and get right into it.
I was going to say if you want to kick or to receive, but like you said, the Panini, even the base Panini is still going to look better than like 90% of the market out there. So let's get ripping here.
Yeah, let's get ripping here. Got to break open the box cutter, unfortunately, but we will start this pack with all right, this card's funny. I already like the look of these cards, and we start out with the guy who is still getting it done. He's still elite at this age, Joe Flacco.
That is a good card to start with, and yeah, it's the first day of the playoffs, so we don't know who the Browns matchup is at the time of this recording. But my man, talk about just taking a guy off the street and just what does he do? He goes out and throws for like 200-300 yards every week, few touchdowns, no big deal.
Yeah, no big deal at all. I mean, I feel like as a Jet fan, you probably have to look at a little bit of a wasted opportunity that, after Rodgers gets hurt, it's like you couldn't have signed Joe Flacco, who was on the team the last couple of years. But I don't want to twist the knife anymore for Jets fans. They've
Stop assuming that they have common sense in the way they run that organization. That's your mistake.
Yeah, that is my mistake. I assume they're just a normal organization, but no, they've proven time and time again they're not serious operation there. One of the better linebackers of his day from your Indianapolis Colts, Robert Mathis.
Robert Mathis, hell of a pass rusher. Definitely not a guy you wanted to line up against as an offensive lineman.
Yep, and we follow that up with one of the best safeties in the NFL. And this must have been right after he joined the Philadelphia Eagles, Malcolm Jenkins.
Yeah, Jenkins, he had this, I think he played with the Saints too for a bit, great, good, very good defensive back. Like the look of those cards too.
Yeah, I like the design of these cards. We go right from there to one of the great fantasy running backs of his day before, same thing happened to every running back. They get old and they decline. They take the big money elsewhere. DeMarco Murray from your Tennessee Titans.
He had a couple of years there where he was like one of the top guys, and then he faded quickly.
Yep, and another guy who was pretty good for a little bit until he kind of dropped off from your Green Bay Packers, James Starks.
James Starks, the kind of guy in that mold where flash in the pan, had a few big games, and then.
So we go right from that. I don't know if this is a rookie. No, this is not a rookie card, unfortunately. But he's still had a little bit of a down year this year, but he's still one of the better wide receivers in the NFL. Stephon Diggs from your Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, that's the old Vikings card there. That looks cool. And then it wasn't the best year in Buffalo in general, but we'll see what happens here. Like we said at the time of this recording, Buffalo could win the division or miss the playoffs entirely. So.
And we finished the pack with a couple rookie cards here. Braxton Miller from your from your Houston Texans.
Okay.
Coming out of the Ohio State University. And Jarrell Adams from the New York Giants, tight end. So didn't get the rookie we were looking for there out of this pack. And last but not least, we get the insert telling us to download the Panini app. So we'll be sure to get right on that. There's your QR code. So go ahead and scan it if you want the Panini app.
There you go. We got another pack though.
I'm sure it's been repurposed for NFTs and AI generated cards and all the weird technological stuff that I'm too dumb to understand.
I wonder what the turnover is on a QR code, or if they're just all unique.
That's a good question. Well, how about this? I'm going to I'm just gonna out of the blue. I'm gonna scan this QR code and
see what happens. Yeah, why not?
And,
why not?
Yeah,
That wasn't great. We flew through it. Let's see what happens.
Well, it says code Panini Gridiron, so.
I
And
mean,
then
maybe
it
they just use
says,
the same QR
and
code
then
for
it's
each year.
right, and then it says this site can't be reached. So I'm gonna go on a limb and guess that that site is no longer active.
Probably not.
No, it's not. So we start off pack number 2 here. Solid player, probably a little bit of a disappointment in his heyday, but from your Dallas Cowboys, Terrence Williams.
Okay. All right. I mean, Cowboys maybe next year will be looking for a better wide receiver too, but CeeDee Lamb certainly had a stud season.
Yeah, he's really kind of emerged as, I mean, if he's not the best wide receiver in the NFL, he's certainly on the short list. Like,
Top
if you were
3.
gonna, yeah, I mean, if well, even going into like fantasy redraft leagues next year, it'd probably be Tyreek 1. Probably has to be Lamb number 2, right?
Yeah, I mean, Jefferson's coming off a year where he missed a lot of games, so that's the name you would logically throw in there. But maybe
Jamar
he
Chase,
falls a little
same
bit.
thing.
Yeah, Chase. I mean, Jefferson probably has a little more upside than Chase next year, I feel like, because, I mean, he missed a nice chunk of the season, but we'll see who the Vikings quarterback's going to be. I mean, Chase will have Burrow back. So, yeah, I mean, those are your top 4, I think, for sure.
One of the best wide receivers in his day. He just retired earlier this season, but from your Cincinnati Bengals, AJ Green.
AJ Green, yeah, he finished with what, the Cardinals was his last team?
Yeah, I believe so, yes. And hell of a career, future first ballot Hall of Famer. But yeah, AJ Green is tremendous, and I think it was him and Julio in the same draft class, right? And we just saw Julio get it done a couple weeks ago against against the Cardinals fantasy championship weekend, and we got Julio Jones at age 34 or whatever it is, catching multiple touchdowns.
Not AJ Brown, not Devonta Smith, Julio Jones.
Right, and we all saw that coming. A guy who is a Hall of Famer because he just got in this past year. Your guy, Darrelle Revis from the New York Jets.
Now that's a good looking card right there. And I always love when the Jets do the white tops with the green pants. It's always a good look. But yeah, Revis, one of my all-time favorite Jets. I mean, for like a good 2-3 year window there, he was, Revis Island was a real deal. Quarterbacks didn't. People are like, oh, he had no stats. Yeah, because quarterbacks never threw at him because they knew better.
Right. Guy I can't believe is still in the league. This might be his last year though. So shout out to Jimmy Graham.
Yeah,
Seattle Seahawks.
He managed to make his way into that Saints tight end room. That's just a complete clusterfuck. Pardon my French, but that's really what it is.
It really is. Yeah, it's not one I'd really be looking to invest in any of those guys. I mean, like Juwan Johnson's the guy, but like even that, or it's just like, you have Taysom Hill stealing looks. You have Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham, I think, has like 4 catches this year, and 3 of them were touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, you got too many hands for one position.
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely not a fan of too many hands there. Ryan Tannehill from the Miami Dolphins.
So, I mean, you got to figure what's good. If the Titans go to Levis, I mean, with Tannehill, what is he? He's got to be a backup now. I mean, I don't know if anybody's getting him a chance to start, but I could see him absolutely being a backup somewhere and being a reliable backup.
I think Ryan Tannehill is going to be like the 32nd best starting quarterback next year. Like, I think somebody's going to sign him to be like a low-end starter. He's going to be the guy that somebody signs while they also draft a rookie quarterback. And, all right, Ryan Tannehill is your veteran for the first, 8 or so games where, the rookie can learn the ropes behind him. But now we have a veteran here where, hopefully, at least for the first month or so of the season, like before everyone figures out that Ryan Tannehill can't play, that all right, he gives us a chance to win games in the meantime. So,
or I could see him, if that's not the scenario, he goes somewhere where like there's an established number 1, and it's like, okay, you're clearly going to be the number 2, but hey, if he goes down, you're going to have a nice team to play with. Like, that's the other scenario.
Yep. All right, we finished this pack here. Cole Beasley from the Dallas Cowboys. Pre-anti-vax stuff. So shout out to Cole Beasley. Not
in that wave of short white guy receivers like Julian Edelman.
Ooh, this is an interesting rookie card.
Oh,
This is one you would probably want, but I don't know that I'm necessarily going to give it to you. We have an autograph rookie card of DeForest Buckner.
ooh. Now the reason you would think he'd think I'd want that is because DeForest Buckner has been an anchor for one of my dynasty league teams for years. So that is a good looking card. That is a nice pull. That's nice.
That makes these packs worth it here. Because unfortunately, our other rookie card is a little bit underwhelming here. As I drop the one card in this pack,
you dropped the autograph. You could make an argument that Buckner could be a Hall of Fame defensive tackle when everything's said and done.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a position that doesn't get a lot of love to begin with, and Aaron Donald clearly is the best of his era, but I mean Buckner is up there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem with Buckner is he's going to be compared against the guys of his era. So obviously Donald's number one.
Sue.
Yeah, I mean, and Dominican Sue maybe a little bit before. Fletcher Cox, I think, has to be in that discussion. There's somebody else I'm forgetting right now. Chris Jones, I think, is also in that mix as well. So he's somewhere probably on that second tier. And generally speaking, when you're on that's second tier, it's an uphill climb to get in the Hall of Fame with how much the backlog just builds up year after year. So we finished this pack. We got obviously the kid reporter thing here, which is probably no good anymore. So yeah, go ahead and redeem that code if you want there. H9MP, blah, 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 blah. So go ahead and do that if you're so inclined. But we finished with a guy where I drafted him in one of my dynasty leagues one of these years, and he just never really turned out to be anything. And I feel like one of these guys where he's your guy and you're just upset because you feel like he never really got a shot, but he never got a shot anywhere. So it kind of is what it is. From your Buffalo Bills, Jonathan Williams.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe him. But that's a decent way to close the pack there. I don't want to trade for the Buckner pack, but I am interested in that Revis card. So keep that handy.
We will definitely keep the Revis card handy for you. And that does it for 2016 Panini football packs. So overall, very pleased with how the cards look, and pleased at least with the DeForest Buckner autograph rookie card.
Yeah, so like when you open the first pack, like the Flacco's a nice card, but like whatever, the Stephon Diggs good card. Okay, that pack wasn't great, and then we was moving along, but then that DeForest Buckner really just that was worth it.
Yep. All right, buddy.
Do we want to cup chase first, or do we want to do a little Pinnacle 97-98?
I think we cup chase first. We want the cup, baby.
Is that what we want? All right.
We want the cup! We want the cup! We want the cup!
That's right. We're hunting the 1990 Pro Set 1 of 5,000 Stanley Cup hologram card on Rip N Riff. For the second week in a row, we're going hologram chasing here. One thing I just noticed about this pack, by the way, that like BS like orange discount card that comes in every one. See NHL discount card for complete details. Void in Kansas, Washington, and Wyoming. Why were in those three states were you not allowed to redeem a 10-cent hockey coupon card? I would love to know.
Well, that's a rough deal if you happen to live in Tacoma or Billings or Topeka. But
good three pulls off the top here.
All right. Yeah, it's a bad beat there if you're going for one of those, but it's also 30 years after the fact. So I think the moment is past.
The moment is past. We don't have any holograms. We'll go through the card. We'll go through the pack quickly and stop on the good ones. Well, Gary Nyland there. I love that blue and orange of the Islanders. What else we got here? We got Steve Thomas, who was a good Blackhawks winger for a little while. Also played it with the Islanders for a little bit. The Calder card. So we've gotten this one before. This is the Sergei Makarov one. We talked about whether rookies should be allowed to win it when they played professionally in other countries for many years. Steve Conroy, who was doing Blackhawks games for a little while on TV. Andrew McBain, King Clancy Trophy, which I don't even know if they talk about that much anymore. But Kevin Lowe won it that year. Bernie Federko. From who's more of a famous for being a St. Louis Blue on the TV telecast. Now we got a devil here, all-time good player in the franchise, Johnny Mack.
Johnny Mack, how about that? That would go very nicely. We could do that Revis for Johnny Mack trade, and that'll go beautifully with this Actually, no, this isn't Johnny Mac. This is a Sergey Brylin autograph puck. I need to get a Johnny Mac. That's the last one I need for my like go-to Devils autograph puck shelf.
Well, we're going to put this in a penny sleeve right now, so that way it's nice and secure for when it makes its way out to your hometown. The guy who wore 11 before Mark Messier in New York, Kelly Kissio. Good-looking Ranger card there, if nothing else.
Yeah, good-looking Ranger card. Unfortunately, yeah, kind of an afterthought in Rangers' lore.
Yeah.
Being the number 11 before the captain.
Now we got Shane Shirley here from the Minnesota North Stars. He was a decent like third line winger for many years, bounced around the league. We got Marty McSorley.
Would you say they churled him around the league?
I don't got the rim shot thing ready, but good one. I'll have that on the wall for next time. Good job. Good job. Good job. We got Marty McSorley here, best known for being Gretzky's protector in his LA days, among other things. So it's a good looking card there. Let's see.
I think it's so important to have guys like that, to have your Marty McSorley types. I mean, I know the league's kind of gotten away from it, but I say this as a Devils fan. Like the one thing that irritates me the most with that team is like I feel like other teams, especially a team with younger, smaller forwards who don't really stick up for themselves, you can kind of take physical liberties with them and you can push them around a little bit. And like I think you need, for lack of a better term, you need assholes on your team.
You can't carry of your 20 spots, and let's face it, 18 skater spots. You can't afford to carry just a guy who's like a trying to think of like a fighter, like a Todd Fedoruk or somebody like that. You can't carry somebody like that anymore. But if it's a guy that can win faceoffs, this is the guy that can kill penalties. Now you can. I think every team needs to have a guy, especially like you said in the Devils situation, where a lot of these smaller guys that are easy to push around to begin with, and if they don't fight for themselves, it's very easy to lose a playoff series that way.
Right, and I think that's the reason why they keep someone like a Brendan Smith around, because he's not afraid to necessarily scrap, and that's why like when he was a free agent this past year, like offseason, like I wanted Radko Gudas on the Devils just because like that's a guy like you do not want to play against in a playoff series because like he's a prick. He's a prick on the ice.
And he's not a defensive liability either. He plays his game. Listen, is Radko Gudas going to get you goals and assists? No, but he does.
No, he's never going to win a Norris Trophy. But like, you need guys like that to make a deep playoff run.
So yeah, I completely agree. Every team needs somebody that when the guys take the ice, they got to think about him being on the bench or maybe being out on the simultaneous shift that you don't want to be on the ice with that guy. Every team needs that guy.
Yeah. So shout out to Marty McSorley.
Shout out to Marty McSorley. Now we got Bob Airy here, who was doing Penguins games for a while too. So there you go. 2 more cards to go in this pack. No hologram. Excuse me, 3 more cards to go. We got a Wayne Gretzky point leader. So the Art Ross Trophy winner that year for Wayne Gretzky.
Very nice.
And then we got 2 All-Star cards here. We got a Pat LaFontaine, all-time Sabre and Islander there.
I feel like we pulled Pat LaFontaine before in this set. Maybe I'm mistaken on that though.
We probably have. Pat LaFontaine, good dude, and a guy that you have guessed in the starting lineup figure 5 questioning, Dave Andreychuk.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty pleased with that guess last week. Unfortunately, it was not correct, but the logic was there behind it.
Logic was there, but nonetheless, this was the man that came out. We'll talk about the starting lineup studio audience later. That is Mr. Teemu Selanne.
Very nice.
We will get into that later. Now, I believe it is time. So we got Johnny Mac off to the side. No hologram there, sadly. We still got another pack of hockey cards, and that's a cool wrapper right there with the Van Beesbrook mask there.
Yeah, way to capitalize on the popularity of the Florida Panthers in 1996. I think that pack probably did a better job than the team itself in terms of marketing the team and carrying over that sustainability from year to year.
That team, that run that the Panthers had, I mean, they got swept by the Avalanche that year in the finals, but that was a fun run to watch. They had that was a good year. They needed it. All right. Okay. No, it's just a stupid gray. It's a discount card. I thought it was like one of those redeemable cards. But nonetheless, it's a good looking card though. All right, let's get started here. We've got from the Tampa Bay Lightning and played on many teams in his NHL career, Dino Ciccarelli. Played with the North Stars, the Capitals, the Wings. These are good-looking cards.
Those are great-looking cards. Dino Ciccarelli is one of those guys I would always trade for in like NHL 95 or 96 or whatever year it was where you could do the trades. Because he was always a solid goal scorer.
And he's a tough guy. So the conversation we just had, he was a guy that had no problem being like, you want to go? We'll go. He had no issue with that.
And they did have fighting in those games.
Now, we do have Alexei Kovalev from the New York Rangers here. This was before he got traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins, I believe. But there you go. Good-looking card. Let me get my finger off the font. Get the hologram on the name.
Not a rookie card, correct? Yeah, because Kovalev was on that 94 team, right? I don't even know if he was a rookie that year.
He was a rookie that year, correct. Speaking of rookies, we do have one, but not a rookie we're really hoping for. But nonetheless, Eric Rasmussen from the Buffalo Sabres. And you love that. You're a big fan of that Sabre look, right?
I'm a big fan of that Sabre look, and I'm a big fan of the Buffalo Slug. So this is not quite the Buffalo Slug era, because that's probably another 8 or 9 years from this point when like guys like Chris Drury were on those teams, and the other guy I can't think of, Danny Briere. Yeah,
Danny Briere.
When those guys were on the Sabres, that's a look I was definitely a fan of. I have a Buffalo hat in the closet. I gotta dig out. Maybe I'll wear that on the next edition. Next time you do hockey cards.
And the Sabres of that era too. I mean, Ryan Miller, Maxim Afinogenov. They had some players. On defense here, you might remember him as a Shark, but also with the Avalanche, Sandis Ozolinsh, good mobile puck moving defenseman.
Yeah, and not the first time we've gotten an Ozolinsh card on this show, but a heck of a player for his era.
Absolutely, and in today's game, Ozolinsh would be he'd be a top 8 defenseman in today's era. Now, I find the way they pack these together interesting because you got 2 guys that are associated as Rangers. Mark Messier here, but as a Canuck, and once after he left and signed the contract there. Not a popular guy in Vancouver.
Well, I don't know. I was trying to come up with a joke on the fly.
No, I mean,
maybe he insulted the city or something. I don't know.
No, it's just a typical. He never lived up to the contract. Blah blah blah. They probably already didn't like him that much from his Edmonton days as Canuck fans, and then you bring, you know what I mean? Okay, and then the next guy in the pack, Adam Graves. So 2 guys that were clutch on that Rangers team in '94.
Yeah, Adam Graves, one of the. I mean, do we say he's an all-time great Ranger? I guess you do. I mean, his number is retired, but I think that's kind of like really you retired Adam Graves' number sort of thing. So it's, I don't know. You're the Rangers fan, so you tell me if he's like a legit like all-time great Ranger, I guess. Because I would say yes, probably.
So here's why he's an all-time great if you factor in the whole package. Number 1, big fan favorite. Number 2, not only a fan favorite, but the guy like absolutely just was like lived up to it in every way. And I'll give you a quick story. Mike Riker, our friend Mike Riker, he was out with his buddies at a bar in Midtown Manhattan like a year or 2 after the Rangers won the cup. Graves walks in the restaurant. They go over, they recognize him, they say hi to him. He comes, he sits down with them, hangs out with him for a while, says he's got to leave. After he leaves, they go to get the check. They're like, no, the waitress is like, no, Mr. Graves took care of it. So he hangs out with a bunch of random guys for like a half hour, takes care of it. Like that's the kind of guy he was. So you have those stories. He was their second 50-goal scorer ever in the 94 year. He had 52 goals. Yager would do it a few years later, and then other guys since then. But, he had a 36-goal season. He had, he was I would say he's one of those where he's a number retire worthy, but not a Hall of Famer.
I think that's a good way to describe it. And yeah, that was a really cool story there of him just like randomly showing up. He must have had like a date or something that didn't like come through or something that he just like randomly sat down with a couple random fans.
Or New York in the mid 90s, fresh off a cup. If you're a recognizable Ranger, you probably are. You could probably just go and get a free lunch at 12 o'clock. And then at 5 o'clock, you want to go to a different bar and get a free, you know what I mean? Like people absolutely love to hang out with you. And so that does feel nice.
It must be nice. It must be nice to have that level of fame where you can sort of just go anywhere and people pay for your stuff.
Yeah, exactly. We got a few more cards to go here. We got a long-time, very good NHL defenseman, Glenn Wesley with the Hurricanes and Whalers there.
Yeah, how about that? That must have been, that must have been the first year or 2 after they moved to Carolina.
This was the first year after they moved because the 96-97 season was the last year. This is 97-98. We got Jason Allison from the Boston Bruins. This guy never really, was good, but didn't really live up to the pedigree, but nonetheless still a good player. Played with the Capitals as well.
Yeah, good player, not a great player, but still a solid card to pull in a pack like this.
Sure.
This has been a heavy hitter pack as well, which I like about this pack.
Well, we're going to close with a nice one, but we got another rookie here. Chris Dingman, pictured with the Calgary Flames here. First round draft choice in '94. Had a decent career, left wing.
I do not like those Flames jerseys. I'm glad they've phased those out.
Yeah, that diagonal stripe that's just like cutting up to the middle out of nowhere. Plus, like, that's not your best shade of red. Like that Theo Fleury era Flames, like that, the ones they wear now. Like that's the Flames colors you got to go with. Now, for our last card, we already talked about this guy right before we opened the pack from our starting lineup studio audience, pictured in a Anaheim Ducks jersey, Teemu Selanne.
Teemu Selanne, and I mean, how can you not love that? That is a classic Anaheim Mighty Ducks jersey right there.
Yeah. Selanne and our old pal Brian Hamilton, who used to be the play-by-play voice for the Ducks back in the day. He's like, Teemu Selanne, nicest guy, like in sports, like not even just hockey, just sports, like total, just off the ice, on the ice, just total like gentleman of a human being.
Well, shout out to Brian Hamilton. I didn't even know that about him. So it's nice nugget to pull.
For the record, I did try to find like online record. It was right before the era where the internet and recording everything was big when he was the voice. So couldn't find anything back then, but I tried. I did try to find play-by-play from Hamilton.
Well, I mean, the internet is forever, so you never know. Maybe someone has found it in the years since then. So that might be a project for a future edition of Rip and Riff. But I digress.
Shout out Hambone.
Slab time.
It is mystery slab time. Good pack here. I enjoyed that one. Let's get to the slab here. This is my favorite part of the show. You really don't know what you're gonna get.
You never know. It's like a box of chocolates.
I think somebody said that in the movie once. I don't know.
Somebody. So we have. All right. I'm already a fan of this one. We have a 2021 Donruss Optic. Purple Shock Mint Plus 9.5 rated rookie card of your guy, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Love me some Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, all right, the 21 Donruss Amon-Ra St. Brown. What was the name of the series?
Well, this is a rated rookie card.
Rated rookie.
Purple Shock.
Love the rated rookies. Purple Shock. Let's see what we could get on eBay for. Oh, dude, that's a. You definitely got your money's worth there. Yeah. That's a nice one, a 9.5. And yeah, St. Brown, I got him as a 4th round draft pick in our rookie draft. And talk about paying dividends.
I think everyone just assumed he'd stink because his brother's not good.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes, maybe it was the Ramon Martinez, Pedro Martinez effect,
Right. So it just goes to show you cannot judge a book by its cover.
Or its last name.
But yeah, I like this. I like the whole Purple Shock vibe going on there. I can't tell who that is in the background. Somebody on the Bills, but yeah, that's a very nice card there.
Yeah, that's a keeper because I mean, as good as he is for the Lions, I mean, he can still put up another few seasons like this. So that's definitely one you're going to hold on to, I would imagine.
He's gonna be. I mean. He's not a top 5 receiver, but he's probably like borderline top 10 would be my where I'd probably put him. And he's a guy who's certainly talented enough where he could wind up having that kind of season. So I'm trying to get my camera to refocus.
I was going to say, as Jared tries to get his camera to autofocus here. That's good. I
doing a horrible job with it, but it is what it is.
I mean, he is true. He has emerged to be a true number 1 receiver. And I know we were talking about the top receivers in the league. He's absolutely in that second tier after the guys we spoke about earlier, Hill, Jefferson, Chase. He's absolutely in that second tier.
Yep. So how about that? I'm going to keep doing this with my camera. It's very professional for a show like this where I just
I'm enjoying it here.
There we go. Now we're nice and focused again. So the marvels of modern technology. So how about that? All right, it's time for starting.
That was our best mystery slab pull. I think that was probably our best mystery slab pull.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly one of the better ones. I think my favorite one out of all the ones we've done, and I only have a few of these left, and we're starting to run out of them. But I think my favorite one so far is Jordan Love, but this is probably, yeah, this is definitely like top 3 or 4.
So then if you got St. Brown, you got Love the Jordan Love. We're looking for that Kirk Cousins. So that means we need to pull a Bears one and a Vikings one. You have the whole NFC North.
Yeah, we'll have the whole NFC North unless Sam Darnold winds up signing with the Bears or something. Then he'll then we'll bear by association.
Check that box. Now, speaking of boxes, we got a starting lineup here. We're going to unbox. It's the figure 5. Now, we did plenty of hockey and football on the show today. I said, let's do a little baseball. So you got 5 questions to figure out the baseball player that's in this box.
Sounds good. And I'm glad you showed me the back of the box and not the front of it, because that would have made this really easy. So
we would have had to stop. I would have to go downstairs and get another one, and we would have had to edit that in.
All right, let's start off with a pretty good question here. Was this player a World Series champion?
This player was a World Series champion, yes.
Was he a World Series champion with the team that he's predicted in? That's not a word, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Depicted in, yes.
The team that he's on the figure.
The team he's on the figure is the team he won the World Series in.
Okay. Did this player ever win a major award like MVP or Cy Young?
Let me double check that. I don't believe
I'd include Rookie of the Year as well in there.
See, the first question I would have asked, I'm not going to say it until we're done. He won a postseason MVP award for a series. He won a championship series MVP.
A championship series MVP. Okay. Did this player ever play for the New York Yankees?
You have one more question. Yes.
Is this player a New York Yankee in the figure?
Yeah, you already asked that. Yeah. Oh,
no. It's a different question.
Yeah. Yes, he is.
All right. So that's all the questions. Won a postseason series MVP award.
ALCS MVP.
ALCS MVP. You could go a lot of different directions there because they were in a lot of ALCSs in the late 90s. But I'm going to guess that this is Bernie Williams.
Well, I do have some Bernie Williams in the box that still need to be opened. And while I believe he won the 96 ALCS MVP award against the Orioles, that is not the guy. Now, the piece of advice I'm going to give you, one of your questions when you find out if it's a baseball player should always be batter or pitcher, because that way you can at least eliminate a lot right off the bat.
Fair enough.
LTK. Orlando Hernandez won the ALCS MVP. Let me look up the year, what it was, but
might have been 98. His rookie year. I think it was on the 98 team, wasn't he?
Let's see. Postseason pitching. He was the 99 MVP. Yes. 99. And he was on he won rings in 98, 99, and 2000. And then apparently won a ring with the White Sox in 05. So
yeah, he was the White Sox had a lot of those random dudes in 05. Like I think Jose Contreras was on that team as well. So they just had a lot of random dudes on that team that somehow I don't know how that White Sox team won a World Series. We should ask Bill Zimmerman one day.
Let's go through the who's who of that lineup quick. AJ Przinsky, Paul Konerko, Juan Uribe, Joe Crede, Scott Pitsednik, Aaron Rowan, Jermaine Dye, Carl Everett. Let's see. Frank Thomas on the bench. Pitching wise, Freddie Garcia, Jose Contreras, Mark Burley, Damaso Marte. Wow. Talk about Bobby Jenks.
There's a lot of former and future Yankees on this list. I think Damaso Marte was on the 09 team. Bobby Jenks was on the Red Sox at one point, I think.
You got Brandon McCarthy's on the team. John Garland on that team. So, yeah, they beat the Astros that year. They beat Lance Berkman and an aging Biggio.
And not just them, but Clemens and Pettit when they were in Houston as well.
That's right. Now, of course, with a guy with El Duque, with that signature windup that he's known for, the card has to be that right there. And the position has to be that, which
yeah, the figure has to be that as well.
So there you go.
Yeah, unfortunately, the knee's not as high as you would like on an El Duque figure. And
you probably want that knee straight, too, because he would really get that leg pretty straight when he would go up, too.
But, yeah, I mean, overall, you have to be pretty pleased with a figure like that. Number 26 in your program lineups. So very cool. I can't really see the detail on it. Does he have the pinstripes there?
So that's one thing that does annoy me about the Yankees starting lineups is that the white uniforms, they never did pinstripes. I guess because it just was too hard to do. They didn't do pinstripes for anybody. So white uniforms were always white, even if they were pinstriped. Right. So that's why I actually preferred road Yankee starting lineups, because gray New York still looks good. Like, that's authentic.
I know you've mentioned that before in the show, and I couldn't really tell on this one. So I figured this was what, 99, 2000 this figure came out. So
this is 2000, yeah.
I was kind of hoping by then technology would have gotten to a point where it was doable, but I guess not.
I'm going to say the technology existed, but the cost to do it probably was not. The juice probably wasn't worth the squeeze. El Duque, one of my favorite Yankees of all time to watch. Like, if he was borderline appointment pitching when he was at his peak every fifth day, like, oh, El Duque's on the mound, better believe I'm watching that game.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And his brother Levon, I have a Levon Marlins one as well in the stash downstairs. So I'll have both Hernandez brothers represented here in time. But he'll join the starting lineup studio audience. And for this week, we got a little bit of a hodgepodge here. Basically just guys that have been coming in the mail that I want to throw. Now, we already mentioned Teemu Selanne, who was unboxed last week. Bernie Williams there in the front, the 97 edition of, and you guessed him earlier. We got a 90 Jim Everett, Don't Call Me Chris. Then we got James Worthy there from the 90 series, and then Larry Bird from the 88 series. Does Jim Rome become Jim Rome without needling Jim Everett repeatedly by calling him Chris?
It's a good question. I mean, he's still one of the biggest names in our industry in terms of sports talk radio, but like, I mean, when's the last time
his name? I feel like that's what got him on the map and got him on that path.
Right. But like, you know, when's the last time anyone like talked about Jim Rome or like listened to Jim Rome? And like, I know what
he's probably like, he's probably like, you know, like people now, he's probably like 5-10 years ago. Like, that was like the end of the Rome era.
Right. Like, I feel like he's probably, if anything, he's probably like a caricature of himself now. Like, he's probably, I don't want to say retire, because like, obviously they're still paying him a ton of money to do what he's doing. So like, shout out to him. Like, I'm not going to knock someone for securing the bag, but yeah, I mean, like, I honestly don't know. I mean, that's such a different era. Like, you know, early 90s. I mean, you know, just the whole industry was, you know, obviously different then. So
yeah, you almost had to do something like nowadays you can go up and like slap a guy like in a line in Target and you'll get a viral following. But like back then you had to do something like that to get TV attention, because there was no social media. So it wasn't big enough for a sports news or a local news or whatever to pick up. So like, you know, I guess in that frame, he was ahead of his time, you know, making a scene about himself to get his name out there.
Right. And like, I'm not saying it's necessarily the same thing as like, because you sort of like look at like the modern equivalents of like how, you know, prominent like sports shows like get on the map. And like, I guess the modern examples would be like Pat McAfee, the Barstool guys, like the Pardon My Take guys. But like, that's a whole different animal there. So
it's apples and oranges.
Like, right. And the way people get noticed now is just totally different, you know, with the internet and viral videos and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Well, nonetheless, Jim Everett, Don't Call Me Chris, he's in the lineup for this week. And then next week, El Duque will be in the audience, but we might have to put a couple of chairs between him and the next person. If he goes to kick that leg up, we don't want him to accidentally kick somebody in the chin. That wouldn't be good. We get sued. We don't want that.
Yeah, we definitely don't want a lawsuit.
And not something that's supposed to be fun, but that'll do it for another edition of R&R here for a Saturday afternoon. Don't forget, NFL playoffs kick off later. Can't wait for that action. But yeah, been a great episode of R&R here on the BSN and Fantasy Alarm YouTube pages. But for at Mr. Jared Moore on Twitter, I am at Pucking Thoughts Adam Bernard. Be ripping some more packs open with you next Saturday here on Rip N Riff.